Chapter 39. Anger.
Lydia.
Somehow, I get through the shift. We avoid each other, and I try not to cry. I catch him looking at me a few times. Probably thinking how lucky he is that he dodged a bullet. It's not until Saturday afternoon, when Trisha asks me what I'm wearing, that I remember I promised to go with them to the game. The hockey game. Where Wes will be. I try to get out of it, but they insist we don't spend enough time together, as it is. So I get dressed, put my makeup on, and head downstairs. Where are we going first? I ask as I get into the front passenger seat. The game doesn't start for another hour. The den, Prez says and maneuvers the car in the right direction. But we'll be early.
I know.
Prez grins. I want to watch the warm-ups.
Why?
Trisha leans forward from the back seat. Oh, I can't believe you missed it. Prez hooked up with a hockey player.
What?
I blink and stare at her. Prez's cheeks get red. It was just a hookup. Ah, Trisha says. And now we're going to watch the Lions warm up before the game.
Who was it?
I ask, eager to know if I know them. His name is JD. He's the captain. Really? I don't want to discourage my friend, but JD does not have a reputation for sticking to one woman. In fact, it's quite the opposite. But I have to say something.
So, are you seeing him again?
Maybe. I left him my number, so I expect he'll call as soon as the game is over. Right. I sit quietly as Trisha and Prez discuss the odds of JD calling her tonight. We pull into a parking spot at the den, and I try to stall, but to no avail. Soon, I'm not only in the stands, but I'm standing near the glass as Prez tries to spot JD. My eyes scan over the players until they find Wes. He stutters a bit as he spots me. Our eyes meet. I'm not sure he's ever seen me at one of his games before. Last time, I think he didn't know I was here. So, are you a hockey fan? A man in his mid-20s is standing at my side. He doesn't look like a student, but it's hard to tell since he's wearing one of the team jerseys. Sure, I say and turn back to the ice. You're very beautiful. I take a small step away from him. Thanks. My tone is flat and uninterested. I don't want to make a scene here. Not in front of Wes. Do you have a favorite player? My gaze lingers on the man I want to wake up with.
Not really.
I like Brick. That's the goalie. Not only is he built like a tank, he's agile. I nod but give him no reply, wishing Trisha and Prez would be done already so we can take our seats. You know, the man continues, it's hard to find a woman who appreciates hockey as much as I do. I was born and raised on the ice. If it hadn't been for my knees, I would be a professional hockey player. Have you ever played? No, I say and grab Trisha's arm. She waves me away, busy discussing the warm-up exercises the players are doing. Maybe I could have your number, and we could discuss hockey some more. I take a deep breath and turn to the man. Look, I'm not interested. Sorry.
Come on.
He reaches out and grabs my elbow. Just give me your number. I promise we'll have a good time. With my heart in my throat, I pull my arm away. I'm not interested. I emphasize every word. I'm a nice guy, the man says. You just have to give me a chance. He reaches out again and takes hold of my arm. Panic floods me. And then anger rises. I try to yank my arm away, but he's not letting me. I'm just about to tell him to fuck off when a loud crash makes both of us jump. Wes has slammed into the glass right next to us. He's furious. Fuck off away from her, he yells. My insides twist. A few of his teammates gather behind him. Get off her, you creep. Wes is still yelling and now everyone is watching. The guy lets go of my arm and Trisha and Prez, who finally notice what's going on, pull me back. Their eyes are wide. The guy looks from me to Wes and holds up his hands. She never told me. She never told you not to grab her. I've never seen Wes this mad. Get a fucking clue, man, and stop harassing women. The man realizes there's a barrier between him and Wes. She never told me she had a boyfriend. It fucking doesn't matter if she has a boyfriend or not. Spit is flying as Wes yells. If I ever see you as much as look at a woman in here again, I will have you banned for life. Now get the fuck out of my arena. The man gives me a dirty look before he strolls off. Are you okay? Trisha asks and puts an arm around me. My hands are shaking. I nod. I'm fine. Wes is studying me, still with that same anger on his face. Thanks, I say. He doesn't acknowledge me. Instead, he skates off with his teammates. I feel cold and wrap my arms around myself, trying to stop shaking. Trisha rubs my upper arms. Wes and the players that showed up head over to their coach. There's some adamant discussion and gesturing in my general direction, and I assume they're trying to make sure the creepy guy is escorted out of the den. What exactly happened? Prez asks. He was just a creep, I say. Can we go sit down now? The arena is filling up, and Prez and Trisha lead me to our seats. I wait for the adrenaline rush to pass, taking deep breaths and warming my fingers. A couple of the players glance in my direction as they finish their warm-ups, but Wes doesn't. I have a hard time paying attention to the game. I'm focused on Wes and his contributions. He plays aggressively, and by the end of the first period, the players from the opposing team seem to be avoiding him. I think he plays well. At the end of the game, several of his teammates pat him on the back. Prez wants to stay and wait for the players to come out, but I just can't. I plead with her to take me home before they head over to Lucky's. Wes stood up for me, but I'm certain he would have done that for anyone. So it doesn't mean anything. He wants his arena to be a safe place for everyone. But why can't my heart realize that? Why does it want to make a bigger deal out of his anger? Why does my heart want to believe that he did it because he cares about me? He doesn't. And we are over. Chapter 40. Breakdown.
Lydia.
On Tuesday, I'm exhausted. Prez struck out with JD on Saturday, so she's been complaining about him ever since. Trisha is giving Larry some kind of ultimatum, and he seems to be jumping through hoops for her. Between listening to their problems and not thinking about Wes, I feel like my brain is about to implode. That's probably why I miss the weather warnings. It's not until the clouds gather midday on Tuesday that I check my app. But it should be fine. There's only going to be some light rain and maybe some winds tonight, with a slight chance of thunder. My concerns about the weather almost disappear when I spot Wes in the store. He looks just as good as ever. Meanwhile, I'm a mess. It took me an hour to do my makeup this morning, and it's only barely hiding the dark circles under my eyes. I still don't know what happened at the game. Wes keeps his distance from me and doesn't speak to me unless it's necessary and work-related. I catch him glancing at me a few times, but he quickly looks away. Luckily, there's a steady trickle of customers and I'm getting good at my fake smile. I suppose that's a useful talent to have, especially if I want to work in broadcasting. Throughout our shift, the rain slowly gets heavier. But it doesn't get bad until right before we close. It's pouring down out there and the wind has picked up. My heart is beating 1,000,000 miles a minute, and my palms are sweaty as I stop at the entrance to the den and look out at the curtain of rain. If the bus is late, I'm going to be drenched. But I can do this. Even if I time it perfectly and run out just as it's arriving, I'm going to be soaked by the time I get on it. It's not a big deal. People are out in the rain all the time. There's not much helping it. At least I can take a hot shower and crawl under my blanket when I get home. I try to imagine the feeling as I crawl into a warm bed, but all it does is bring up memories of my bed with Wes in it. Behind me, Wes finishes locking the store. I move to the side so he can pass, but he stops next to me. I can drive you home. Ever the Boy Scout? No thanks. Don't be silly. You can't wait for the bus in this weather. Thunder rolls across the sky and I flinch. No. They said the thunder wouldn't start until later. I'm tired and sad and I don't need thunder right now. Not here. Not in front of Wes. Because all I want to do is curl up in bed and cry. I'll pull the car around, Wes says. You wait here. He opens the door before I can answer, and the wind pebbles me with raindrops in the brief moment before he runs outside. This is nothing. There's nothing to be afraid of. My breathing is ragged, and I make an effort to calm it down as Wes pulls the car as close to the entrance as possible. I take a deep breath. With shaking fingers, I push open the glass door and step into the rain. The cold, wet drops hit my face, waking me up, and I sprint to the car. Wes opens the door from the inside, and I jump in next to him. Thunder rolls again, and it's all too familiar. Suddenly, I'm back there and there's blood everywhere, and rain hits me through the broken window. All I can hear is the pounding of my pulse and muffled words. I inhale, but it's not working. Far, far away, Wes is saying something, but all I hear is my own voice as I pleaded with my mom to sit up front. My own voice dooming them. I can't breathe. My lungs hurt and my face is wet. Around me, the world spins and shifts from present day to the night over a year ago. I can see the shards of glass so clearly I want to reach out and touch them. And I know, that if I turn my head. Shush. Strong, comforting arms surround me. Tears are streaming down my face. But someone safe is holding me, stroking my hair and telling me everything will be all right. I dare move my head and see Wes. He's leaning over to hold me, and it's all I want in this broken world. The only thing that's been able to heal even a fraction of what broke that evening. I hold on to it. I grip his shirt as if my life depends on it, because maybe it does. And I pull him close. I hold him close. And he holds me. He makes soothing sounds and holds me tighter, squeezing me so I can barely breathe. And he holds me. While I shake and cry and disappear into the past. He tells me everything will be better, and I'll make it through this. So I believe him. I believe there's a way to heal the parts of me that broke, and maybe I can. I stop sobbing and become aware of his scent. His warmth. Do you want to talk about it? He asks in a soft voice. I shake my head, worried that he's going to let me go. But he doesn't. He holds me. I don't want to talk about it. But the words are there. They want to get out. I've withheld them long enough. They hid when the police asked. They were scared when Ellie wanted to know. And they plain refused to come when I sat in a bright room with comfortable furniture and a woman ready to listen and write it all down. But now, the words are eager. They want out and I can't stop them. Ellie had a summer job at a restaurant. My voice is cracked and hoarse from the crying. We wanted to surprise her and have dinner there. It was raining. My dad was driving and I asked if I could sit up front. Because I don't like being in a car in the rain. I was being stupid. My mom let me. I sob and he strokes my back. She let me sit up front because she knew I didn't like the rain. And I shouldn't have.
I never should have asked.
The tears are coming faster than the words. But I can hold back neither. We were talking. I didn't want to listen to them. But they were glad me and Ellie got into uni. And they were discussing majors. I told them it was my life, and they should let me live it. I was such a bitch.
And Mom said
that she just wants to see us happy, me and Ellie, and that she wants us to live lives that give us meaning. A giant sob interrupts my story. And then I was screaming. They were both looking at me. But I could see the truck. Because I was looking at them. It was coming much too fast. Too close. And I knew it was going to hit the side where they were. Wes takes a shaky breath and holds me tighter. I want to spare him, but there's no stopping the words now. Then there was blood. My dad looked at me. He tried to breathe, but it just went away. There was rain on my face. I screamed again. The next thing I remember is being in the hospital. But I'll never forget the way his eyes looked. I hulk against him, vaguely aware that I've soaked his shirt in tears and snot. I should have done something. I could have saved them. There must have been something I could do. Is that where your scar is from? Wes asks quietly. I nod. I'm out of words. Outside of the car, the thunder rolls again, and I loosen my grip on his shirt. I'm sorry, I say and pull away from him. Wiping my tears, I pull myself together. He says nothing, just starts the car, which he must have turned off at some point, and puts on his seatbelt. He leans over and grabs my belt and fastens it. I wipe my nose on my sleeve. I must look horrible. He drives me home in silence. And it's not until he stops the car that he speaks. Do you want me to come up with you? I shake my head. Ellie is home. He does a sharp inhale. Right. I open the door and step out into the rain. I feel empty. My legs are weak as I take the few steps to the door. Wes waits until I'm inside. I look back at him. He must think I'm insane by now. And a mess. So much more of a mess than he thought. He drives away and I head upstairs. I need a shower. And my blanket. I kick off my shoes by the door. Ellie is on the couch, studying. Do you want dinner? She asks and closes her laptop. I'm so empty. I had no idea words were taking up so much space. Ellie is looking at me questioningly, and I realize she never got any words. I refuse to talk to anyone after the accident.
Lydia.
Ellie gets up. Is something wrong? I blink. The last thing Mom said was that she wants us to be happy and live fulfilling lives. Ellie drops a notebook. Her mouth falls open, and I can already see the tears forming in her eyes. Something inside me has released. I take a deep breath. I want fries and chicken nuggets. Ellie is still staring at me. She just nods. I nod back and head to my room. I'll order some, Ellie says after me.